Wondering how your mindset affects your life? How to bring more energy into your business and life? Millions of people around the world ask these same questions daily. You are in the right place. Learn practices that will help give your life the meaning and success you've been searching for. Welcome to the Charge Podcast, teaching you how to create habits around real goals every day. Practical life advice from those who made it. Here's your host, Gary Wilbers.
Chargers, are you frustrated and stressed out with your professional and personal life? The Charge Podcast will help you get recharged. Yes, it is hard to believe. We are in the second half of 2020. It's been a very interesting first 6 months with the pandemic that hit the world. The key is not to focus on what is out of our control. Instead, focus on the influence we can create in our life. How are you doing with your goals for 2020? Have you been sidetracked with the events of the world? Let's decide right now to make the second half of 2020 the best year yet. This quote from Jim Rome sums it up best. Motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. Remember, the podcast is named The Charge after my mantra, create habits around real goals every day. Let's get recharged in the podcast to influence a positive culture in our life each day. Are you ready? Chargers, I know you're always looking for opportunities to learn, grow, and develop. That's why you listen to the Charge Podcast. Well, most leaders struggle with communicating the goals of your business to get results. At the Leadership Navigator Academy, we've created a learning and development program that helps leaders hold themselves and their team accountable. When your leaders change behaviors, you see results in increased performance and a more engaged team, which increases profits. If you would like to learn more about the Leadership Navigator Academy, go to thechargepodcast.com and click on the L&A link to get all the information.
Welcome, Chargers. We're glad to have you back this week. I love bringing you guests each week and really getting different viewpoints so you can learn different things throughout the podcast. And that's why you're part of the Charge podcast group called the Chargers. So we're so excited to have you here today. And today we got Wilhelmina Springmeyer. She lives to be outside. A dream to influence and educate led to digital marketing. Wilhelmina started her career working with Esquan entrepreneurs, tough word there, nationwide before moving home to Las Vegas. While in Las Vegas, she began working with creatives, lawyers, and medical device companies, utilizing social media for sales acceleration, maximizing organic reach, and earning up to $2.6 million in sales within 90 days. After moving to St. Louis for love, Wilhelmina began working with coaches and small business owners who needed a market presence online to increase their sales. She enjoys providing the all-in-one tech stack for operations, sales, and marketing. Wilhelmina, it's great to have you on the Charge Podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. Wonderful to be here, Gary.
Well, I'm so glad you said yes to our conversation because I think with digital marketing, there's so much into this that we're going to be able to dig into. But before we get to that, I always ask every guest this same question. I have a mantra called Charge. Create habits around real goals every day. I'm curious, what habit or habits do you think has led to success in your life?
Being raised on a ranch and growing up riding horses, there's this every day you kind of have to get over doing things you don't want to do. And really the best habit I've formed is if I don't want to do something or I'm afraid or whatever it might be, I don't think I'm going to be good at it. I force myself to do that one first. And that's kind of led to, whenever I do that, it's always led to a better result than I thought would happen. And it really just kind of kicks in the Nike mantra, just do it. But I've modified it to just try. So it's growing up in the cattle world it really forces you to out of your comfort zone and just figure it out.
Yeah. What a great habit and really great one to do. And what part of that is when we do it first thing, we have more energy and more effort to be able to put to it and we get more success versus so many people put that to the sideline. Oh, I'm going to get all these other things done. And of course, by that time comes, our energy level's low. We're not as excited about it. And of course, then it's harder to get through. So what a great philosophy to have. So chargers, that's one you can write down and put on your list. Maybe you want to try that. Let's go ahead and eat that. I've heard that philosophy before. Brian Tracy talks about it and has a book out called Eat That Frog, meaning eat the first thing in the morning because you've got more of that energy that's there. Well, we're going to get into digital marketing, but I'm kind of curious what is changing. And you might even, I know people have heard the phrase, but let's really tell them, what do you mean by digital marketing too, if you don't mind?
So, there's actually a lot of people don't know the difference, but there's online marketing and digital marketing. And digital marketing is very tech heavy with SEO and search and actual website development, and kind of what we call the foundation of the online world. And online marketing is really just about, front face creatives and outbound marketing and things like that. So it's a little more front facing. So with digital marketing, because of the pandemic and kind of what our society is going through right now, more than ever, how a consumer engages with a website, digital marketing is moving into behavioral marketing. And you have to have that solid foundation and that framework to really engage and stay front and center with your consumer. And it's a very complex world to be in, because a lot of small business owners think that once they do a website, they can leave it there and it'll always stay relevant and stay top of mind with their consumers, and that's just not true.
Yeah, in digital marketing, of course, we have to change. So many people, they do a website and it's like a checklist. Yeah, we have a website. And
yeah,
that
exactly.
creates a lot of challenges because, of course, people now go get their information before they do it. And it doesn't matter what type of business it is. People are looking them up before. I mean, perfect example, you talked during this pandemic. How many people are looking places up of where they decide to order their food?
Exactly. Yeah. And that exactly. And they could be driving down the highway using Siri, and it could be the best restaurant in town right off the highway, hidden behind the trees. And if they don't have schema on their website, that person driving using Siri is never going to find them.
What is one of the things that you see that is probably the biggest mistake that you see people make in their area, their website?
They expect it to be able to do it once and then never change it or update it ever again. And I'm not really sure where that came from, because that's never been a mantra in advertising or marketing, for that matter. And it's hard for a lot of leaders to understand that digital marketing is never done. If you want to be in business, you're constantly modifying and you're staying with the times, because Google and Facebook, they come out with a new policy or a change or new technology every 2 weeks. So, I mean, this is you have to have a team. This isn't, my daughter's niece can do it, for $50 a month in her spare time while she's in college. If you want to have a thriving legacy for your family and for your life, you just can't do it that way anymore.
Well, and let's take that another way, or kind of add on to that, is how important it is for every company to really realize that it's not just about your website, but it's also that partnership. And you kind of mentioned it there and kind of started as in that process with Facebook and Google, of why it's so urgent, or so it's a must to not just have a website and check it off, because Facebook and Google is driving some of those other things. And it does not matter what type of business you are. You may be a mom and pop store, and it gives you opportunities if you're there. But if you're not there and the only place you are is, well, let's say you have a website and you put it up 3 years ago and it's not very functional, it's not mobile savvy, those type of things, then it's going to create challenges with the other ways that people can connect with you. So can you share with us kind of why those partnerships with each other with digital marketing, where you're looking at them as a whole versus individuals?
Yeah, so it kind of gives, it offers transparency and honesty for the consumer, for the business owner. And it's a way for us to kind of bridge the difficult tech aspect and offer more services to better help the small business. Because our goal, like my goal, my mission, and the company I work with's mission is to help the small business thrive. And a small business can't thrive if they don't have a solid foundation to thrive off of. So a lot of the partnerships that we have with Google and Facebook, Bing, Microsoft, Yahoo, it's formed around the best solution for the business owner.
Yeah. And it becomes looking at all the pieces instead of looking those at silos. Because the challenge that a business owner gets is when I think, oh, I got to do my website. I've got to do something on Facebook. I've got to worry about Google and search terms. It becomes overwhelming.
Oh, 100%. And they're very, there's so many companies that are, trying to get their attention, and they're just trying to do what's best for their business. So it's very overwhelming for business owners. And it's, that's one of the reasons that I like to work locally. I try my best. I have, clients all over the country just because I've been in the equestrian industry for 25 years and I have strong connections there. But for the most part, we try to stay local because I want to be able to run down the street to a salon and pop in and see if they need something, a modification to their website, or they have a bridal party coming in and they want extra hands to take photos to post on their social media. That's something that I can help with. And it just isn't, this anonymous company that's helping do this background stuff that I don't even understand what it is. And that's part of the problem, is that business owners are so busy being busy, they don't understand half the stuff that we're doing for them. They might be seeing the return on investment, but they don't understand what we're actually doing. So it really helps it when we're all local and we can just go out into the market and just be like, I'm here to help.
Yeah. And it's what allows them is, if they're in those digital marketing spaces, to let people know they are there and be able to expand that reach that you're talking about. Why do you think there's so much fear? We've talked on some of these, but that fear in really utilizing the internet, because what we're talking about here is we're talking about small business owners, and how can they embrace it instead of fearing it?
Unfortunately, brick and mortar is dying, and especially now after the pandemic, and how we shop and how we dine, how we visit and view the world is changing. How we travel is changing, and you kind of have to stay with the times. And a lot of people would tell you, I'm sure if you Googled it right now, you would find first page, first header would be websites are dead. And that's just not true. And so it's really, voice is going to be the next big thing. Behavioral is because, the movement of digital marketing, how consumers engage with your business online is really important. So it's just, trying to help people let go of the unknown and accept that, how most of the time when we help them acknowledge how they shop, it, the switch flips for them. Because I'm pretty sure, when was the last time you bought tires for your car, Gary?
Probably been about 1.5 years ago.
Right. And you got on Google, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you shopped around for a little bit. You probably checked prices on 3 or 4 different websites. I mean, you did your research, right?
Yep. Right.
So that's more of like an eternal shopper. And you were being targeted based on how you were interacting with each website. And that is what small businesses, they do that themselves. Like, did you know that Siri can pour water now? That's voice technology, and we can connect that to people's websites and their ads. And there's just so much, it's actually kind of creepy. There's so much that we can do online for businesses and consumers. And we just want to connect the bridge a little bit better.
Yeah, connect it. And I think that becomes the real key to it. Now, let's talk about maybe a success story. I don't want you to so much tell the client's name, but maybe give us a little background on that client and maybe some steps that you took to be able to help them really get into the digital marketing space to be able to move forward.
Right. So it was a law firm And honestly, it was a big gamble because it was my first real job outside of college, out of the equestrian industry. And they started me up in the clerk room, in the filing room, and it was incredibly boring. But because I was the only one in my 20s at the firm, I had an opportunity to help with the Facebook page and the social media to really build up an online presence for a couple of the different attorneys. This law firm covers 13 specialties, especially with employment law and personal injury. So I had an opportunity to move forward, and one of the associate attorneys right out of college, right out of law school actually, he was very tech savvy, so he and I crafted a Facebook page for a nationwide class action to find more plaintiffs for. And we were able to get a very large settlement over the course of, those kind of class actions take 5 years to get a settlement for, but we were running ads consistently for the whole time. And I think we spent a total of like $30,000 in ad spend, and we didn't know what we were doing. And we had over 18,000 named plaintiffs. And we got a very nice settlement for the law firm and for the plaintiffs, and we got justice for those people that were being taken advantage of from that corporation. And it was a little bittersweet because we didn't know what we were doing. We could have gotten more money from the settlement if we had just changed, little aspects of the form. But we didn't know that, and we didn't know how to use Facebook ads. So that was really like the big gamble for us. But learning how to do that just kind of on the fly and with a very small conservative budget, and working with a law firm that was willing to let us try these little new tech tools before Facebook ads really became the thing to do, and it really made me want to go help more people with the same aspect. It's not a gamble anymore because I work with a company that knows how to do it better than everybody, but so to speak, it's just that small businesses can really make more money from spending $1 and turning it into $2. And so that experience working with the law firm and learning how to work from a very, having to know how to do several different roles and do them well. And it was really invaluable, and I really enjoyed it. And I kind of miss working with that firm specifically because I became very close with the lawyers and the legal assistants, and I learned a lot about our country and our laws and what was going on in Nevada at the time. And we had a lot of exciting things going on in Nevada at that time. So it was just really interesting, I think.
Yeah. Well, what would you tell me if I'm got one of those business owners, and I know some business owners are a main part of our podcast here, and they're listening, but they have in the back of their mind, I hear what you're saying, but the challenge is, my business is different, and they've not invested in, maybe they have a good website, but they've really not invested in SEO. They've really not done anything about incorporating Facebook and Google together. What would you tell a company like that business owner that, they're just not sure if it's going to pay any dividends? Because my business is all local here where I live.
Mm-hmm. Well, it really goes around what are their goals? Do they want to expand their business? Do they want to really make it a viable business and support their kids through college or help their parents retire and live comfortably? If you don't utilize a website or advertising or reputation management correctly, your business is going to eventually die very slowly, because that's the way the world is moving. How the world is doing business is online. And if you're not online, you're not going to have a business in 5 years. You're not going to have a business in 3 years, probably, based on the pandemic and what it's done to our society now. And that was 2 months ago. You know what I mean? So it's really about just having trust and spending time building that relationship with whatever vendor you choose to work with. That's my best advice. Really get
Yeah.
to know the people you're doing business with.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think the other is it's not if you want to move forward, you
You
must
have
move
to.
forward. Just the same way you do other things in your business. This is the new advertising medium. This is the new way your customers, and it just always concerns me when I hear people say, well, I don't have enough business. But then you look at their website and look at their digital media presence and there's nothing there. They're missing
Mhm.
out on a whole realm of business can be there. And maybe
Exactly.
today all your business is local, but just think if you open up and you go outside of your community and you're able to bring business from outside of that into your business, the opportunity it gives you. And we'll just talk about bringing it out of the United States, but we've got other countries that listen to this too, and
Yeah.
they may be interested in your business, and that becomes that real plug that's there. And I think that's becomes the key. It's not if, it's you've got to move forward in that. And that's where you don't go with the first person, but that's where, like you said, you interview and you sit down with people and you really look at what are my goals, and the right person will come to be able to help you with those services.
Exactly.
Well, a lot of great information, Wilhelmina, and a couple of more things that I want to talk about, and then I want to get to the recharge round. But I'm kind of curious about with Facebook. So
Mhm.
many people, they hear all the numbers, and now you'll hear almost two different sides for people. You hear, I'm tired of seeing all those ads. And other folks are saying, well, I don't see the things that I want to see. What would you say to that, and how, let's put the business spin on this back to it. You can talk about individual some, but then on the business side of it, what's the advantage for them if they're in that market space, advertising or marketing?
Well, from the consumer standpoint, I do get annoyed by the ads, and I get really agitated when I get a text message from a business that wants my business. But here's the thing, as annoyed as I get, I still end up buying, because now they've been nagging me and now I'm just annoyed and I want to get it out of my way. So I buy the product, or I buy the service, or I do more research and I find another product or service that they offer and I purchase. I mean, I'm an eternal shopper. So I really take time to figure out what it is I'm doing and spending my hard-earned money on. But then once I purchase, I'm a loyal customer for, 3-4 years. So from a consumer standpoint, just apply your experience to your business and you'll see the holes in what you need to fix, and you'll understand what areas you want to move your business in. From a business standpoint, yes, those ads are annoying, but those ads are your revenue. So, I mean, you kind of have, yes, and that's why they can be as profitable. So if you're a dentist or a car dealership, people want to spend money. They want to have, a comfortable lifestyle. There, you have to run ads, digital billboard ads on, Yahoo or Gmail, in your email, on Facebook. There are so many different places that you see ads that you probably have started to tune out just because you're so used to it. But it's really the way that people interact with the world and learn, especially learning online. E-learning has become a big thing, and those are all driven with advertising.
Well, and
So
the other key that you really made straight out is you may get annoyed by them, but you still go back to Facebook each
mhm,
day, right? To look
every
what's
day.
there.
People
And
spend 79 minutes a day on Facebook, and that's actually increased since the pandemic.
yeah. So think about that. Your customers are there. And the best part about with Facebook, you're allowed to do is, if you don't know as a business owner, you can really target down to what your customer is. If you know your target audience is 35 to 50, you can really segment into those market shares that's there. And too much to get into now, but that's where you call Wilhelmina and she'll get into sharing that, how that works and how to really be able to set that up, because you're really able to target who you need to target versus just being out there. And, And that's where an expert's going to help you. And I know there's tools that's available there. So, Wilhelmina, why don't you go ahead and share now with them? I think you've got some specials, and what we'll do is we'll put them on chargepodcast.com, the promo codes, and how they go reach to be able to get it, because a lot of times they're active at this point in time and not able to write it down. So go ahead and share your offer.
Yeah, so we have a smart website offering. It includes 3 performance products, 3 different ways to advertise, and then your reputation management and a smart website. So we'll have schema on there, a video, and we have a promo for Charge Podcast listeners for $1,010 for a 12-month contract, and that's a locked-in price. It won't change, you basically get me in my team of 50 as basically a free employee, essentially. And then we have a sync marketing solution, and that's everything except the smart website. So if you already have a website set up, it's the 3 performance products and then reputation management and listings, and that's at $929. And you get $500 off of your setup fee for creatives with your advertising.
Okay. So go to our website, chargepodcast.com. All the details will be listed there, and we'll have that, and how you reach out to be able to get those promo codes. They'll be on the website there, so you can take advantage of that offer. I appreciate you offering that to the chargers and giving them that capability if they want to make that move now, because if you're hearing about digital marketing, now it's time to go ahead and move forward and do something about it. Well, Mina, I've got 6 questions that I do in the recharge round, I call them. And these questions are questions kind of around my framework that I talk to people about. And the first one I have is, if you would share with us how you believe your mindset affects your daily living.
Oh, hugely. So I've done, when I was an equestrian rider, I had a lot of trouble. I would get locked in my head. I would think too much. And I would worry, and it would really affect the performance of my horses. And I learned really quickly that you have to get enough sleep, drink enough water, and meditate to be able to just produce and function at a high level as an athlete. And it's no different in society or business.
Excellent.
So my habit is to just get enough sleep.
Yeah.
Honestly.
That always works well. How about, what do you do daily to bring energy into your life?
I ride my horses. I have a little garden on my balcony in my apartment, and I really take the time to have downtime. I'm a little bit of an introvert. I like being around people, but I have to have some quiet time to reflect on what I've said and what I've done and who I've talked to, and just be with my horses. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell, honestly.
Okay. Thank you. How about the number one connection or maybe relationship that's made the biggest impact on your life?
My father, he's a trial lawyer, and we like to call him Batman in cowboy boots, because he really advocates and believes in helping the little guy and get justice against corporations. And that's always been his mantra, and that's how he basically raised my siblings and I. So it's definitely my dad.
And look at you. Now you're in one of those that you love, helping small businesses and those local business owners be able to put themselves in the digital marketing space. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
What advice has influenced you the most in your life?
It's actually a quote that I found on Pinterest, of all places, but it really helps me when I get stuck on a destination or obsessing about, an event and the achievement of the event. But the journey doesn't shape you, you shape the journey. And it really helps me slow down and enjoy my life no matter what's going on in the day-to-day moment. And the horses kind of do that too, because if you aren't in the moment, you'll get fucked off.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it's so true. And that's one thing about life, is really it's about our journey. It's not the destination. And I think that becomes a real key for us to realize. How about your favorite book, and why do you love it?
I read 3 this quarter. So Atomic Habits from James Clear is my favorite, or James Clear, excuse me. I always add a Y to his name. Just really enforcing what habits help lead you to a happier life, and to, have that introspection to figure out what habits you are displaying and maybe how they're affecting you.
Yeah.
And then Inked from Jeb Blount is really helping me understand conversation and business and how to be a better business person, basically.
Okay. What's amazing, you mentioned Atomic Habits. That is a very hot book right now. I read it in January, and I tell people go back, and I would highly recommend it. So we'll have those in show notes so you can look at them. And if you need to go back, which ones they were, we'll have links there for you to be able to check out in show notes. My last question for you, you almost made it through the recharge round, is one sentence or less. What legacy do you want to leave the world?
Oh, that I like to support my loved ones and just help them be happy and enjoy life as is. I don't believe in afterlife or anything like that. So this is all we got. Let's enjoy it. So I really just want to help them support them to live the life to their fullest extent and share my blessings.
Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing with us and our audience, the Chargers, because you made a difference today to really give them some things to think about and really understand that digital media is really the marketing of advertising and really allowing you to promote your business. And I just can't thank you enough, Wilhelmina, for your expertise in this area. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. It was great to have a chat.
Chargers, I hope you enjoyed that information that you received. Now, remember, we'll have things in show notes that you can check out. Make sure you check out those specials that Wilhelmina offered us. We'll have that all lined out in our show notes, so please check that out. And you can get all that information at chargepodcast.com. Now, the key is you've heard great information. Now, what are you going to do about it? Go ahead and like and share this podcast and refer it to others and let other people know about our Charge podcast, because our community keeps growing and we want more Chargers just like you. Thanks for joining us. See you next week. Make it a great day.
This podcast is ended, but your life doesn't just stop. To continue your inspiring journey, head over to chargepodcast.com and access all the tools and resources mentioned on today's show. If you enjoyed this episode, consider sharing with somebody who may also benefit from the advice provided. That's chargepodcast.com. Until next time, charge in business and life.